Well, Duckworth Prestex was formed 3 years ago, but the story goes back a lot longer than that, actually. I decided a few years ago that I wanted to revive that name, revive the family business, and I brought Prestex back 3 years ago under the new name of Duckworth Prestex. I also knew and respected a lot a gentleman by the name of Pierre Bloom, who may be familiar with you. He was the founder of Ebel Watches, and what a stylish, characterful man he was.
So today I am joined by Neil Duckworth, Managing Director of Very Group and founder of Duckworth Prestex, an independent watch brand from the UK. Neil, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
welcome.
Very nice to see you.
Joining me.
My pleasure.
Let's go back right to the very beginning. First of all, where did your watch journey start for you?
Well, it started when I was age 21 and I joined the family business, which was called Preston's, and that was in Bolton back in probably 1976. And I was a humble sales assistant in the family business, selling watches for the first time.
Lovely family business. That's the way I was brought up, and I think it's a great start in life, right?
Yeah, it's a good start in life. My father knew the business well, and I learnt a lot from him and about how the business works and how the watch world itself works.
So tell us a little bit more about Duckworth Prestex, about the brand itself.
Well, Duckworth Prestex was formed 3 years ago, but the story goes back a lot longer than that, actually, because the family business, Preston's, used to make watches under their name, Preston's, until starting in about the 20s, and then in the 30s, they changed the brand name to Prestex. And it did very well. They sold Prestex watches made in Switzerland, sold in Bolton for 30 or 40 years until it was discontinued. I decided a few years ago that I wanted to revive that name, revive the family business, and I brought Prestex back 3 years ago under the new name of Duckworth Prestex.
Who were they selling watches to back in the day?
It was a county jewellers, the carriage trade as they called it, so they would be selling to the good and the great of Bolton and its greater environs.
Interesting enough, your tagline is tradition reinvented. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, that's correct. Actually, tradition reinvented is quite easy to explain, and it's as follows. That the tradition refers to the actual watches. The look of my watches are traditional, and they are direct copies of original Prestex watches. Reinvented really refers on two levels. One, we're using modern components, modern movements, modern technology. And two, I've added my own personality, a splash of colour. So it's reinvented, basically. It's a traditional watch reinvented.
I know you've had quite a long and quite a grand history in the watch business, the watch world. Over the years, I know you've met quite a number of people, and who are the guys that have influenced you over the years?
Well, I have worked in the watch industry, you're right, for a very long time. I've worked in the industry for over 40 years, and I ran Tag Heuer in the UK for 20 of those years, which were great years, learnt a lot, met a lot of people, and I met some huge characters, far too many to mention, but I can think of two or three that stand out. Two or three that stand out. Well, the first and foremost, there's a gentleman called the late, great Mansour Auger, who was the head of Tag Finance, Tag McLaren, and he basically bought Tag Heuer, and he guided me and encouraged me in my new venture as well. A massive influence, a big influence on my life, and a big influence in the watch world. I also knew and respected a lot a gentleman by the name of Pierre Bloom, who may be familiar with you. He was the founder of Ebel Watches, and what a stylish, characterful man he was. And Ebel in the 80s were absolutely enormous. They were competing with Rolex at the time in the luxury market. Absolutely. All down to Pierre Bloom, who is a very nice gentleman and was a tremendous inspiration for me.
What was your first watch then?
My first watch was what they call a Swiss watch that the Swiss wear. It was Tissot is the name of the watch. I think I might have been 16 or 17 when I bought that, or had it given to me by my father. When I joined the business, I couldn't resist investing in an Omega watch, as we were the main AD for that area for Omega. And I got myself an Omega Constellation with a green dial. I don't have that one, sadly. When I left Heuer, Tag Heuer, I was presented with a Monza, number 1 out of 1. It was just made for me. I still got that, and that's quite a special piece. Yeah, very, very nice indeed. And another brand that appealed to me a lot in those days, and I owned one when in my 20s, was Girard-Perregaux, a classic Girard-Perregaux white dial with Roman numerals.
Very nice. So if we go back to Duckworth Prestex for a minute, what's the current size of the collection and what does it involve? Tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, the collection is growing steadily. I started 3 years ago, and we've got now 5 different families, shortly to have a 6th. So there's probably about 30 models in the whole collection. And it's a reasonable size already, considering I've only been going 3 years. And I'm introducing 1 or 2 more complicated watches as we go along. The latest being the GMT, which is due out very, very soon.
And by the way, we sort of met fairly recently, but I've seen you at a few shows now, and it appears that your stand is always amongst the busiest, if not the busiest. There's always a lot of people around.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you noticed that. I hope you're right, actually, but I don't know exactly what the appeal is, but whichever show we've done, we have been really busy. There's a lot to talk about. We talk about the history. We talk about the Duckworth family name. I think it interests an awful lot of people, and we've got an interesting looking collection. But yes, it's working. So
if you don't mind me saying it, I would say that it's down to your strapline in many respects, because that's what I see when I look at your watches. Tradition reinvented.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are seeing that. And I've also noticed that you seem to have quite a wide variety of people that are interested in getting into your brand. They might be, one guy I saw at one of the shows was wearing an RM, but he was interested in your watches. Someone else might be an Amiga owner. It seems to appeal to quite a broad base of watch fan.
Well, that's interesting you should say that, and I hope that continues, and I hope that's the case. But I've thought about it, and why is that the case? I think possibly the history and the heritage of the brand appeals to the more discerning watch connoisseurs and the collectors, whereas our colour and price, dare I say, is instantly appealing to newcomers, new people to the watch world.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you just mentioned the GMT that's coming out very soon. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about the GMT. The GMT, I'm using a Miyota movement, which has a true GMT in it, but I've upgraded the whole spec of the product. I'm using a ceramic bezel. I've got applied indices. It's a 42mm case, 4 different colours, and it looks superb. So for the money, it's £895 on a bracelet and $795 on a strap. It's going to go well, and it's out the beginning of October.
Looking forward to that one.
I'm looking forward to it.
The first to see.
You will definitely be amongst the first to see it.
Absolutely, I really appreciate that. So where else are you going to be showing this year? Because we're at, I've seen you at a couple of shows. You was at BQ just recently. Today you are here.
Yep.
World Time.
Yep.
Where else can we see?
Well, BQ will be back again at BQ, because I believe there is a Christmas event planned at the beginning of December, and it's been great for us, BQ. Great people there. A lot of good clients turn up. In between that, we will be in New York at the Wind Up Watch Fair, which is next month in October. Following on from that, we're in London at the Watch Pro Salon, which I think is in Leicester Square. So we've got 3 more shows this year.
How are the Americans receiving Duckworth Prestex? Because it strikes me as a brand that could probably do very well out there.
Yeah, you've actually hit the nail right on the head. I'm surprised at how many orders we're now getting from the USA. I've done about 5 shows over there so far, but word's starting to travel. I'm getting people coming back. And, 3 out of every 4 orders that I'm getting online are from the USA.
Yeah, that surprises you, but it doesn't surprise me.
No.
Enough. I've dealt with the Americans for such a long time. And as soon as I look at your watches, I'm thinking the Americans are going to love this.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well, it's been a pleasant surprise, and I hope it continues in that vein.
Absolutely. So, in general, how can people get to see what you have on offer, get to see what watches you've got in stock? How do they order? Tell us about that.
Well, we're an online brand. We do have 1 or 2 retailers that sell. There's Alsal in London, but in general, we are online, and you can find us on duckworthprestex.co.uk, and that's where most of our sales are. Obviously, we've got about 8 or 9 shows we do a year. And as I said, there's a couple of retailers that do sell our watches, but they're not many. But you can find out which ones they are on the website.
Are these mostly limited runs, or would you just keep going with how they?
They are mostly limited runs, and we're not anywhere near the limit at the moment. Most of the watches that we've made so far are runs of 500.
Yeah.
The orange is the most popular, and we're still not hit 300 yet.
Okay.
So we've got a way to go.
Yeah.
And I've not quite decided what to do at the end of a particularly popular run. How do we reintroduce it? We've got one limited edition which came out a month ago, which was the Coronation in salmon pink and midnight blue. Indeed, which has gone very well, particularly in the USA.
So what's next for Duckworth Prestex? Where do you see us going from here?
Well, what's next? It's not more of the same. We're doing things differently. I like product, I like designing. What have I got coming? We've got our centenary coming up next year. The name Prestex will be 100 years old in 2024. The first watch I've got on the drawing board and will be ready by January is our centenary watch, and it's going to be a classic, elegant repro of a 1935 square Prestex. It's a rectangular dress watch.
I got
You did.
I think I've got to tell you guys, I think it's absolutely amazing.
Thank you very much.
And it reminds me
Yeah.
of so many happy memories wandering around places like Orbella Road, the watch shop, picking up watches from the 1930s, etc. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I think everyone's going to love that. Finally, for now, Neil, big launch this week of Digital Watchful. I'm very pleased and proud that you've become a part of that and joining up with us. How excited are you to be one of the first UK dealers to come on board and to be joining names such as Jacob & Co?
Well, it's amazing to think that I'm joining such names as Jacob & Co. I'm really pleased to be amongst the first digital watch vault. I mean, something like this it has got to be embraced by the whole trade. It's the bane of our lives, the watch crime. And this is obviously going to go a long way towards bringing that under control. But no, I'm dead excited. Being one of the first is a real privilege, so I'm very happy about that.
Excellent. So guys, don't forget, if you want to catch up with Duckworth Prestex, I'll pop a link in the video here, and go along and have a look. Tell them that Digital Watchful, Paul at Digital Watchful sent you along, and I'm sure that Neil and the guys there will take good care of you. And Neil, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. Every time we meet, I keep looking at your watches, and they keep becoming more and more tempting. Everyone knows that orange is my favourite colour.
Oh, we got a lot of orange.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, Paul. Thank you very much.
Paul, and we look forward to a very exciting rest of 2020.
Fantastic.
And looking ahead, a super exciting 2024.
Thank you. Cheers, Paul. Thank you.